So good evening everyone. Good evening Aditya. So let's begin today's session. Many of you might be joining this link. Those of you would have probably joined the last week's live session also. So you know the drill. My name is Indrayani, and here we will be solving previous run's assignment questions. Previous run of this course was last semester, so the questions are not very different from this semester's assignment questions. We will be trying to solve both the assignment quiz as well as the programming assignment questions. Yeah, so before the session begins, something about me. I am a research scholar from IIT Bombay. My name is Indrayani, and we'll be meeting using the same link every Tuesday, same time, 7 pm. So you can join the same link which is shared with you all via the Swayam platform. Yeah, so we'll follow some etiquettes. Please try to actively use the chat box. I monitor the chat box all the time, so your queries, your questions will not be missed. I can guarantee that. And please avoid unmuting, because many of us have some background noises going on, and that really disturbs the others also. No? So unless the messages are not clear and there is a dire need of unmuting and talking, and of course when asked for, kindly please unmute and talk, but we'll try to use the chat box actively. Yeah, so shall we wait, or shall we start the session? Yeah, so you guys can raise your hands if you're ready to start the session. Okay, great. So I have couple of hand raises. That's good. So we will start the session, but before we begin, one thing I wanted to tell you all is the sessions are recorded. I do the screen recording of this session, and I upload these session recording onto the YouTube, and the links, the recording session links are shared with you. So I will be updating the sheet which is there already shared with you all on Swayam portal. Using the YouTube link will be updated, and of course the annotated PDF will be shared with you all, so you can go back and refer to that as well. Okay, so let us begin assignment 4. So we will start with the assignment quiz first, and then we will move on to programming assignment quiz, because assignment quizzes give us some perspective. It puts us into the tempo of programming, and then when we go to programming assignments, it is easier to understand the nuances of Python syntax, as well as to develop the logic, because we are already walking along or walking through the code snippets and trying to identify the correct syntax and correct logic in different questions. So that's why I take assignment quiz first and the programming assignment questions at the end of the session. Yeah? So let's begin. So this is the question 1. We are asked what is the output of this particular code snippet. Yeah, so here we are importing two packages, import string and import random. So we had come across this random package in last week also. It's used to generate some random numbers, and there are certain functions and certain functions available in the Python. So these two libraries will allow us to use different functions related to string. We will be able to use different operations pertaining to strings and the random numbers, right? So let us see what is getting done here, right? So the after importing the libraries, so these are libraries. Yeah, so after importing the libraries, the first statement is a is equal to string dot Ascii letters. So Ascii letters are I hope you all remember last week we had one question where we used the sorting function of it was, I think, the first question only, the practice makes man perfect. So there we had seen that capital letters have Ascii value which is smaller, followed by the small letters. You remember? So these are nothing but the as you all know, the computer stores all the values in binary format or the number format, numericals. In memory, nothing is stored as letters or everything. So these letters or characters, they get converted into the numbers, and we have certain standard numbers assigned to every letter, every special character, and that is Ascii code. So these Ascii letters are the collection of the alphabet, collection of the special characters and the letters also, the capital small letters, right? So when we are saying Ascii letters, it will not include the characters, the special characters, only the letters. That means the alphabets, capital alphabet and the small alphabet. Yeah. So there is a string which has all the capital alphabets and small alphabets, all the capital letters and small letters. Now we are accepting input. This statement n is equal to int input. So that means we are accepting input and not as a special character or anything, but we are converting that input into integer. Okay, so we are accepting an integer from the user. So now what is happening here? We have written a for loop. We are given a for loop. So for I in the range of n. So that means there will be n iterations of this for loop, right? This for loop will be run total n number of times, and the index value will be from 0 to n minus 1, right? Everyone's with me till this? So all these statements which are inside the for loop, including the print, including the print. Including the print statement, these will be run all n number of times from 0, I value 0 to n minus 1. So now what is happening is we are initializing another list called capital L, and then another for loop, one for loop inside bigger for loop, right? The smaller for loop inside the bigger for loop. So this also runs from 0 to n, right? This will also run from 0 to n minus 1, because here there is a value till n. So now what is happening is we are populating. Here the list is empty. Right?
Ma'am, what is Ascii letter?
I just explained it in the beginning that computer stores everything in the form of numbers. So all these special characters and alphabets, they are converted into numbers, and we have a standard format to convert every alphabet. There is a standard value associated with every alphabet. Yeah, so here the Ascii letters is, we are not considering the special characters but only the alphabets, because we are considering just the letters. Yeah, the Ascii value of the letters. For magic square, I'll advise you to go through week 4 lectures. Sir has explained really nicely what is magic square and how to implement that. But to give you a brief here, magic square is n cross n. That means the number of rows and the number of columns will be same, and usually it comprises of numbers. So the sum of all the numbers in the row and the sum of all the numbers in the column, any column and any row, is the same number. Like it could be 9, it could be 15, it could be 25, it could be anything. So that's the magic square, in which the number of rows and the number of columns are same, and the sum of all the numbers in the row and sum of all the numbers in the column is also same. So what is happening here, I was in this for loop, right? So we were looking at what is happening in the inner for loop. So inner for loop, what's happening here is we are randomly picking up a letter from this string A, which comprises of all the capital and small letters, right? And we are randomly picking one. So we have so this input n, so we have the list will have n elements or n characters, right? N Ascii letters. So now what it is doing is, for all the elements in this list L, so all the n elements will be printed. Yeah, the element will be printed, and this \t is used as a tab, just like our keyboard tab. That means there are multiple spaces, some 3-4 spaces between the two elements. And after this one for loop, that means after n elements, right, this for loop is populating L with n elements. After this n elements, we are implementing an empty print statement. So this will move the cursor to the next line. Cursor on the next line. So this will also run n times. So we will have list of random characters, random ASCII characters, n and n times. So that means n cross n matrix or square. So it will be a magic square, right? There is no logic implemented here to prove that it's a magic square. The sum of ASCII value of all the letters will be in the column and row will be the same. So I'm not going there, but it will be magic square in the sense there will be a random characters, n cross n square will be printed. So that's why we can assume that there will be further down the line or further down the code will be checking for the magic value also, right? So since all the options have mentioned magic square, so we'll go with the magic square. Okay, so please don't get confused or don't ask how to verify the ASCII values or all those things. So let us just assume that there will be a list of random elements, n characters and n times. So there will be n cross n square. So it will be, the answer will be option B, right? So when we are solving the questions, you guys can also guess the options like A, B, C, D, and so you can ask the doubt if your answer is correct or not correct, or if you're not understanding anything while I'm solving. Okay, so feel free to ask the doubts through the chat box and also guess the answers through the chat box. Okay, so let's move on to second question. So in second question, we are asked to guess the correct code used to display whether the entered year is the leap year or not, right? So let us go through all the 4 options one by one. So one main thing about leap year is, so the year, the number of years should be divisible by 4, right? Divisible by 4, and of course the 400 also, right? So either 400 or 4, right? So there will be or condition, will be checking if the year, entered year, is divisible by 4 or 400. So there will be if condition. So here the function has been defined. Every option has the function leap underscore year in which the argument of year is getting passed. So this year which is in the bracket, this is known as argument of a function. That means when the function is called from the main code, this will be the main code. So when the function will be called from the main code, we can input some variable, or we can give value of some variable to the function. So here we are asking user to enter the year, and that value, that year value, we are passing it to the function, right? So this function is using that value year here. So we'll be checking the conditions in all the options, if the year is divisible by 0 or it should be divisible by 4 as well. So option A is checking just the one condition, if it is divisible by 0. So this will not be the answer, right? So moving on to next option. So it is 0 or 4, then it's a leap year, otherwise it's not the leap year, right? But here else is not written, right? There should be else. Oh, it's not visible. Then now it is okay. We'll one by one go through all the Nidhi. Now it is fine. We'll one by one go through all the options. Okay. I hope now you can see. Yeah. So what happens is, once this if condition is checked, it will print if it's a leap year if we give some year value which is divisible by 4 or divisible by 400. But this print statement, not a leap year, will be executed regardless, right? Because there is no condition getting checked here. This should be the part of else, no, if else. So this should be part of else. So this also cannot be the answer. Yeah, so option A and option B will not be the answer. So now let us check these both the years. So okay, check these both the options. First let me compare both the options, and then maybe we can zoom in to see individual options, right? Yeah. So so what is happening here in option C is first condition, it is correct, like year divisible, modulus will return the remainder of the division, right? So when year is divisible by 4, the modulus will be 0. So here we are checking if the variable year is divisible by 4. If modulus is 0, then yes, it is divisible by 4. Similarly, this is checking if it is divisible by 400. So this part is okay. But if year is divisible by 100, then print not a leap year. Is this the correct condition for not a leap year? No, this is also wrong condition, right? So this will also not be the answer. So now coming to option D, first we are checking if it is divisible by 400 or divisible by 4, then printing it's a leap year, which is a correct condition. Else, that means which the year, if it is not divisible by 4 or not divisible by 400, then it's not the leap year. So this is also correct condition. Okay, so option D, I can see 3 answers for option D, 3 people rooting for option D. That's correct. So this is the correct answer, right? Moving on to question 3. So we'll have to carefully see what is happening here in question 3. Okay, so there are 2 lists given to us with the movie names, all the good movie names, okay? No bad movies here. So L1 is one list and L2 is second list. So L1 has some movie names, L2 has some movie names, and there is empty list. Okay, so this is empty list. Now for I in range of len of L1 will give length of L1. So it will be used to traverse through the list 1 or L1, like for all the elements I, which will be starting from 0 to the last element index of list 1 or L1. So this is the code which we use to do that, like when we want to dynamically traverse through any list. So instead of manually calculating how many elements are there in that particular list, we can use this function of list called len or len. So len of L1 will return the length of L1, which is the number of elements in the L1. Yeah, so now this is the simplest way to traverse through the L1, to check each the elements of list 1, L1. So now we have initializing an element called flag and set it to 0. Now another for loop which is for j in range of length of L2, like len L2. So what it will do is it will traverse through the list 2 or L2, right, from 0 to the last element index of list 2. Now what will happen is when outer loop starts executing, the first execution for every execution of outer loop, so this will be outer loop and this will be inner loop. For every execution of outer loop, inner loop will be executed n times, or all the elements of L2 will be traversed. Then for second element, for second execution of outer loop, that means L1, list 1, again the L2 will be, entire L2 will be traversed or gone through. Okay, So this part is clear. For every element of first list, we are checking every element of second list. For what? So for this if condition, if L1I is equal to L2J, that means the first element of list 1 is equal to any element, or all the is equal to all the elements of list 2, that is checking. So if it happens the same element, then we are setting flag. If both the if L1 and L2 have same element, then we are setting flag is equal to 1, and break means coming out of the for loop. This for loop, inner for loop, right? Whenever we find the matching entry, we are coming out of for loop. Otherwise flag is still 0. Now if flag is 0, that means the element in L1 doesn't have any matching element in list 2, L2. Then we are appending or adding. Append means add. We are adding that element to empty list L, which we had declared here, right? This empty list L. Yeah. So this is clear, right? So this the for loops, both the for loops after execution, so the flag value will be 0 when there is no matching value of L1 and L2, right? The elements are unique. But which element? Because what we are appending to this n? L1, the element from L1. Element at index I from list 1 or L1. So this print L will give all the unique movies from list L1, right? Yeah. So Riya, coming to your doubt, what is flag 0 and flag 1? So flag is a variable. Flag is like, so it's a notion that generally what do programmers do is, when we want to flag some event or something, just like flagging or tagging, when you bookmark things or when you highlight the things, so in the similar notion, the variable flag is used. That could be any variable, okay? The name flag has nothing to do with the purpose, but here the name has been given so that we can flag the event of matching entries. So we are checking the L1 and L2 elements. So we are picking first element of L1 and we are checking all the elements of L2. So say for example the first element is Harry Potter, like, so L1 0 is Harry Potter. Now in the inner loop what happens is, this Harry Potter L1 0 will be the if condition will be seen for all the elements of L2. So is Harry Potter equal to Drishyam? No, right? So this flag is equal to 1 will not be executed. So is Harry Potter is equal to Spider-Man for second iteration of inner loop? No. So the flag value will still remain 0. Flag is equal to 1 will not be executed. So is Harry Potter is equal to Bahubali? No. Harry Potter Dhoom? No. Harry Potter Race? No. Harry Potter Matrix? No. Right? So that means the flag value signifies whenever this condition is true, we are changing the flag value to 1. So if flag value remains 0, that means the condition is false. So here for the case of Harry Potter, the condition was false. So our flag value remained 0 because this if condition wasn't true. So this went to else part and the flag is equal to 0, right? So we identified if the condition was true by using this variable called flag. Yeah, so Ketki has pointed out that you can assign any value, is just for checking. Yeah, absolutely correct. So we are checking if the condition is true. So whenever the condition is true, we will change the value of that flag variable to 1. If the condition is false, the flag variable will remain 0. So the condition was false. So there was no matching entry to Harry Potter, right? So this L, the list element, the Harry Potter will be added to this element, to this list L, new empty list L, right? So similarly, matrix will be matched against all the values, right? Drishyam, Spider-Man, Bahubali, Dhoom, Race, matrix. So matrix matches. So this condition will be true. So the flag value will be 1, right? So now at the end, this execution will come to this part, if condition, if flag is equal to 0. So no, flag is not equal to 0. So the matrix will not be added to this list after Harry Potter, right? So now Spider-Man. So L dot append it. So Ria, actually, I have been taking this from, I think, second or third week. So we had this like append will just keep on adding the new elements. It's a function in Python which will just help us in adding the elements to any list, like. So it will just add that particular element. So now matrix will not be added because the flag value was 1. So similarly the Spider-Man will not be added because it has the matching value here. The Avengers doesn't have any matching value, so Avengers will be added, right? Then John Wick doesn't have any matching value, so flag will remain 0, and John Wick will also be added here. So the L, the printed part, the print L will give us the list of all the unique movies from L1, right? So yes, I can see that many of you gave the answer C, but later on changed your opinion to answer A, right? So it is not printing common movies, but it is printing only the unique movies, right? So you have to carefully look through what is being done, what is getting printed, okay? So you see all the conditions, you check all the indexes, and then only zero your answer, okay? So these are the pointers, because your final exam, if you have registered for the exam, this will have this kind of questions as well, right? So be careful to check the index or the ending index of the condition, like this range len L2. So this will decide how many times the for loop will be traversed, okay? So I will advise check all the conditions and check all the print statements, what they are doing. And be careful, don't rush into answering, because now many of you changed your answers from C to A. So just whatever comes to your mind, don't answer. Try to think logically, try to think like a computer, try to think like a compiler, and see how the code is getting executed, right? So there is a reason, because in the final exam you will not have access to any compiler, any online compiler. So you will have to think like a computer to determine what will be the output of the code. Yeah, so as far as possible, we will not run this code and see what is the output and then tick the option. We will not follow that route. So what if L10 is equal to L20? Okay, so if in that case this particular F condition will be true and the flag value will be set to 1, and this will not get executed, so nothing will happen. Yeah, so we saw that matrix is the common entry, matrix is here and matrix is here as well. So there was some matching entry for L1, right? L1 was equal to L1 was equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So L2 5. In that case, the flag value will be 1, and when the flag value is 1, nothing is getting appended, right? L is getting appended. That means the new element is getting added to the list L only when the values are not matching, only when the values are unique only to L1. It doesn't have any common entry with L2. I hope the doubt is clear, Bharatji. Okay, so let's move on to next question. Okay, question 4. So now again here I will give you some time. You guys can unmute and tell me what do you think the for loop is doing here. Okay, so first let me just explain what is happening in the beginning. Okay, we have imported the random package. That means it is going to help us in generating some random number. Okay, there is a list with the name of movies. Okay, there are certain movies we don't care how long the list is or what are the names of the movies. As long as we have some couple of examples or the couple of entries of the list visible to us, that's fine. Okay, that is not our headache how long the movie is, the list is. Okay, so again we have declared a variable called movie, which is random.choice So random.choice is the Python function from the random package, and it has the argument in this case the argument is list L. That means it will pick up some random element from the list L, and that value will be assigned to the variable called movie. Okay, so this is picking up the random random element from this list. Okay, and just like there was flag variable in the previous question, here the variable name is count. So we are keeping count using this variable called count. So what count is getting kept here? For character in movie. So this is another way to write for loop. So here we are traversing through this movie, this variable movie, which has the element, one of the element from this list L, and this movie has a set of characters, right? So the variable character is assigned to the characters or the contents of each element from this list L. In this case, this movie, which is the random element from this L, so it will have some special characters. Say let us take a shorter example of matrix. So it will have character MATRIX, right? So for every character in this random movie name, now what is happening is, if the character is equal to A, or character is equal to capital A, then the count is equal to whatever the previous value of count was plus 1. So we are counting if the particular character or the letter of the movie name is A, and this elif is else if combined together, right? So if it is not else, if the character is not equal to A, then else again we want to check another condition if. So we have combined this else if together into and we are calling it elif. Okay, so elif is also a nice way to combine two conditions together, right? So this is also a valid way to express two conditions. Like, we want to check all the conditions one after another, we don't want to skip any of the conditions, so that's why we are using elif. So now many of you are guessing C. So everyone agrees. Venkata Reddy is saying that it is checking vowels. Yeah, so everyone agrees that it is checking vowels. Okay, Bharatji has one doubt. He's asking, can we use if more than once in the loop, just like elif in this example? Yes, of course, Bharatji, we can use instead of elif, what we can do is else if. We can have two separate keywords also written, or we can have multiple if conditions also instead of else. Yeah, so if, because else part is needed only when you want to have some alternate statements to be executed if the condition is not true. But if the condition is not true and you still want to check, then you can skip the else part and write the if again. So there will be, with the help of multiple if also, the same logic can be implemented. Yeah. So all of you agree that it will display, because it is printing the count, right? It is printing the count and the movie. So movie is the movie name and count is the number of vowels, because we are checking for A, E, I, O, U. These are vowels, right? So all of you are correct. The correct answer is option C, display the number of vowels and the name of movie. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to question 5. What will be the output of following code? So now this is the easiest, right? We have seen such example in last week's assignment questions also, where using this bracket we can specify the starting index of the for loop, and this is the end index. No, what is the 20? What will be the end index? If this is till 20, then what will be the ending index? It is always n minus 1. Yes, I am getting correct answers. So 19 will be the last index. Very nice. So all of you are getting hang of how this for loop works, right? So this execution will start from 5 till 19. And what is this if condition is checking? If I percent sign is modulus, if I mod 5 is 0, it is checking if number I is divisible by 5 or not. If it is divisible, then it is calculating its square. So it is printing the square of the numbers which are divisible by 5. So it is print all perfect squares with the square roots between 9 to 5 and divisible by 5. So option D. Yeah, option D. Yeah, so Kailash and Bharat ji, no, yeah. So Bharat ji changed your answer from C to D. Okay, fine, great, great. Okay, I was about to address that it will not be option C, because option C has this not word, not divisible. But we are checking if it is divisible by 5. Yeah, so option C will not be correct, but the correct will be option D. Okay, so most of you are giving correct answers. So let's move on to next question, that is question 6. Do I need to zoom in the options? Are they visible? Can you make out what are the options? Yeah, so I will just firstly explain. Do let me know if I need to zoom in, okay? Nidhi, I will zoom in. Let me just explain the question first. So question asks, which of the following code will generate all the prime numbers between between 0 to 100? Okay. So here what is the catch? Okay, question 6 answer will be option D. Okay, many of you are thinking it's clearly visible. Okay, great, great. So many of you are thinking the answer will be option D, but I don't agree. Option D will give some error, you know, because option D as in this, am I right? Where I'm marking is what you mean by option D, right? Swapan. Okay, how to indicate remainder for division? So okay, we have certain mathematical operators, Rajiji, in Python or any programming language. So for multiplication we have asterisk sign. For subtraction we have this hyphen sign or minus sign. Addition, usual addition sign. For division we have the slash. And similarly, to get the remainder, the modulus function of algebra, like you all might be remembering modulus function, how to calculate modulus. Anything's mod gives us the remainder. Not the absolute value, but here it is called modulus function, which gives us remainder. So when we are calculating A mod B, it will calculate A divided by B, and whatever will be the remainder, that will be the answer of this modulus function. Yeah, so we have inbuilt mathematical operator to calculate the remainder for division. So we don't have to worry about how do we get the remainder from a particular division. Okay, we can use this percent sign to get that remainder. Okay, yeah. So coming back to this number, yes, I don't know, I can't read Bangla, so I don't know how to pronounce your name, dear, but the last name is Goen. So you are absolutely correct. 0 and 1 are not prime numbers, so we have to consider that while defining the for loop. So that makes option D out of question, because here the index will be starting from 0 to 100, and for first two runs, for the first two values, for 0 and 1, it will give error because 0 and 1 are not considered prime number, but prime numbers start from 2. Yeah, so think from that point of view. Now what do you think will be the answer when we want to start from the number 2 and end at 100? So our for loop executions should start from 2 and should end at 100. So for loop should have range between 2 to 101, right? So this automatically makes option D out of question, right? And how do we calculate if the number has factors or not? We will have it divided by the number which is less than itself, right? So how do we how do we factorize number 4, right? So we will see if 4 is divisible by 1. Yes, it is divisible, so it is a factor. So we will see if 4 is divisible by 2. So that means we will check the remainder. Okay, what is the remainder of the division? If the remainder is 0, that means the number is completely divisible. So that's how this if condition is coming here. But for how many numbers do we need to check? Do we need to check for every number? Say here there are also two loops, right? Outer loop and inner loop. So for inner loop, outer loop will give us every number of element. For that number we don't have to check the every number which is greater than that number also. We can stop when we come at that number minus 1, right? So 2 is the factor, like remainder is 0. So for 4, 2 is the factor. Now we again do 4 divided by 3. The remainder is 3. So it is not the factor. And 4 divided by 4 is always going to give us remainder 0. So we don't need to go till the 4. We can stop at 3, right? So we can stop at I minus 1, right? So that means if we want to stop at I minus 1, our range should be I minus 1 plus 1, which is I. Yeah? So we should stop at I. So now it is clear how it is option A. Yes, I think now everyone is with the option A. Let me just scroll. Yes, everyone is with option A. Okay, great. So no doubts in this. Here also we are using this variable flag to see if the number has any factors or not. If the number has factors, we are assigning the value 1 to flag. And if number doesn't have any factor, if the number is prime, then flag value remains 0, right? Then this if condition will always be false, and this will not happen. For false, this assignment of 1 to flag will not happen. So when at the end of the for loop, when this condition is checked, if flag value is equal to 0, if it is not 0, then we are if it is 0 only, then we are printing this I, and flag value is 0 only for the prime numbers which do not have any factors. Okay, now is it clear how we are using flag variable flag? Okay, great. So I'm moving on to next question. So okay, I will zoom in first. Let's first read the question and try to understand. Okay, so question 7 says, what is the code to replace all the letters of a movie name except the special characters and the white spaces, or the that means if the movie name has 2 letters, then there will be a space between first word and the second word. So that space etc should remain except, so that means should remain there with the asterisk in the single line. Okay, so now let's go through the code one by one and let us see how we will get the desired output. So we are importing the package string and random. Okay, we are choosing there is a list of movie names. Then we have this Ascii. So what this Ascii string is holding, it is holding string.ascii underscore letters. Okay, so this ASCII underscore letters, it will give all the alphabets.
All the alphabets, ma'am, all the alphabets, small and
capital.
All the alphabets.
Yes, all the alphabets, small and capital. So we have seen this in question 1 also. Absolutely right, Aditya. But in the question we are asked that except the hyphen and white spaces, but nothing is mentioned about the numbers, right? So we need to add numbers also to this alphabet. Yeah, so what this plus sign is doing, it is adding. So this string Ascii will have the list of alphabets followed by the numbers from 0 to 9. So if the movie name has number, then we can verify against this string Ascii. Okay, so this Ascii will it is used for comparison purpose. If character is a letter or a number or a special character in the movie name. Okay, so again we are picking up random movie name from this list L. So let us take the smallest example, Matrix. Okay, so let's, for example, we have chosen randomly Matrix. So for every character in this movie name, that is Matrix, for every character, if this character is in list of this SC string characters, so M is in the list. Okay, M will be in the list. So what it will do is it will execute, this condition is true, so it will execute, it will print this asterisk and end with so what this end empty inverted single inverted comma will do is it will keep the cursor in the same line. We have seen in from I think week 2 assignments, we have seen that every print statement gets the cursor to the new line, but we don't want the cursor to go to the new line, so that's why we are using this end with the empty inverted commas, single inverted commas. Okay, so this will keep the cursor in the same line. So we have the cursor in the same line. So if it is the part of this particular string, then we will print the asterisk, otherwise we'll print the character. So now for matrix, there is no special character here, so it will be printing asterisk for all the letters like Matrix. So Matrix, so there will be 1, right? And say for example, if we are taking Spider-Man, then there are 2 words, spider hyphen man. Yeah, so what will happen is this hyphen is not part of, is not in this string, no, SC string, so it is not. So this if condition will be false for hyphen, so it will not replace. So what it will print the that special character. Yeah, so this particular option seems correct. Yeah, so now let us check with the all other options. What is happening in other options? So here what is happening is for every character, if so I'm just checking the for loop, okay, because the before for loop part is same in every options. We are creating one string with all the alphabets and all the numbers to check against. We can check every character against this particular special string which we have created, and we will see if every letter of the movie name is part of that particular special string. If it is part, then we will print the asterisk, otherwise we will keep the character as it is. So what is happening here, for every character in the name of the movie, we are checking if this character is in the SC, and we are printing asterisk, but we are not moving, cursor is not in the same line. So this will not be the correct answer. Okay, so now let us check the let us check the next option. So if the character is not in character is not in SC, then printing 0, this is completely wrong. This is checking for the special character. This condition is for special character and not the alphabet. So this is wrong. So this cannot be the answer. So let us go to option D. Okay, so this part is correct. For every character in the movie, if the character is in the list, that's the correct condition, then print asterisk and keep the cursor in the same line, else print that same character, right? So this is the correct answer. So here what made us think was not in the character, but we have to not in the special string, but here we have to check if that particular character was the part of special string. So option D is the correct answer. Yeah, so shall we move on to next question, or there are any doubts in this? Okay, so I'm assuming no doubts, and let's move on to the next question. Sorry. Yeah. So okay, there is just one statement, and we are supposed to guess the output of this particular piece of code. So I will give you guys chance to work out. I will wait for a few seconds and will let you think what is happening here in this particular code. Okay, so this is printing something. What it is printing? So so this is the mathematical operator twice asterisk is power. So I power 2, that is I square. So it is printing square of a number. Square for I in the range of 10. Okay, so from 0 to 9, right? You agree, from 0 to 9?
Yes, ma'am.
And we are checking for one condition. What condition? If I mod 2 is 0, that means if I is divisible by 0. Yeah, I is divisible by 0. In other words,
I is divisible by 2.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I is divisible by 2. My bad. Oh God. Sorry. I divisible by 2. Yeah. In other words, if I is equal to if I is even number or not, right? So what this will be printing? This will be printing the list of squares of all the even numbers between 0 to 9. Yeah. You agree with me? List of the squares. So option C will be the answer.
Yes.
Right? So I can see option, many of you have said option A for this. So you guys want to change your answers?
But in C they didn't mention even numbers, no?
Where in even numbers? Oh yeah. Oh yes. List of squares of numbers between. Okay, for all the numbers. Right. Yes.
Correct.
Yes, you are right. No, it will not be both A and B. It will not be both A and B. Sorry, A and C. Yes, you guys are right. It will be square of even numbers. But then the option has to be like square of even numbers between 0 to 9, right? So we can say that the correct answer is not in the options. It is safe to say that the correct answer is not in the options, right? So the correct answer will be list of squares of even numbers between 0 to 9. So it will neither be A, it will not be C. The answer will be list of squares of even numbers between 0 to 9. Yeah. So sometimes such things happen, when we are setting the questions, or TAs are, or the professors are setting the questions and thinking about the options. We sometimes skip some part or something. So these things happen. So maybe the correct answer is not part of the options. Yeah.
What about grading, ma'am, here?
So in such case, what happens is, so this was from the previous semester's run. So if such mistakes are pointed out, or if the professor or such mistakes are caught, then that particular question is not considered for grading. That particular question is omitted. So if there are 10 questions, that assignment marks will be considered only for the 9 questions, and that question will be completely skipped for grading. This is for all NPTEL assignments. Okay, so you don't have to worry if the
how to report this, ma'am?
Through the discussion forum. You can point it out in the discussion forum. You can write mail to NPTEL help desk. So I think those emails are available on NPTEL platform, right? Yeah. So this is the previous run. So this is not the current run assignment. So I don't know. I have no idea about the current run assignment questions. I have not seen them yet. So if you find out in current run that the correct answer is not part of the option, you can report it through discussion forum, and also write it to the NPTEL help. Yeah. So
ma'am, what if we have marked any answer just to be on the safe side?
So that's what I told you, na. The re-evaluation, what they do is they don't consider that particular question for evaluation, because you might have thought, like, I did not read the even numbers, right? I just read list of squares. My mind skipped that even numbers. And if I would
Yeah.
have been a student in last run, I would have marked my answer as option C. But many of you pointed out, no, but it doesn't have even numbers mentioned. But the even numbers is mentioned in the option A. But list of squares of even numbers, but here we are stopping from 0 to 9. So even the option A is not the correct answer. So there'll be a
Yeah.
conflict for those who have marked option A as correct and those who have marked option C as correct. So in that case, you can point out that there is correct answer is missing from the options. TAs can take the action, or you can write to NPTEL helpline, the help email, and let them know that the correct answer is not part of the options, and maybe the particular question should be considered for while calculating the evaluations. So
Okay.
yeah, so NPTEL has mechanism for this thing. So generally what happens is they don't consider that particular question at all. Yeah, so it will not be biased for anyone, those who have marked correct option, or so because there's no correct option, so yeah, so they drop that particular question completely from evaluations. Yeah, so if so I think that this has happened with you all, so you can write in the discussion forum that the correct answer is not part, and then the corrective action will be taken from NPTEL. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to question 9. What is the correct code to calculate the sum of the numbers, like 1, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2 plus 3, and so on for n terms? So we have to calculate from 1 to n, right? So here again you will notice that first two lines are same in all four options. I hope the font size is good for everyone. The code is visible, or should I zoom in every option? Okay, great. So I'm not zooming in. We'll quickly, because we are already just 5 minutes left till 8, and we are yet to do the programming assignment also, so we'll quickly complete the question 9 and question 10. Yeah, so all first two lines are similar to all the options, right? So we are taking input, converting into integer, and we are initializing a variable called total and assigning it the value of 0. So now for addition of these numbers, what we are supposed to do is we have to add the n terms, right? So that means whatever input we are taking is n. So we have to include this n also. So that means the range for loop will be n plus 1, right? So option C goes out of question because its range is still number, so it will stop at that particular number minus 1, a before desirable value. So we will not even see what is happening in option C. Yeah, all the other options have correct outer for loop, like we are starting from 1 and going till number plus 1. So now outer loop, every outer loop in all three options is same. So now let us come to inner loop. Yeah, so in inner loop, for inner loop is from 1 to I. So I is outer loop value. Yeah, and we are adding this value to the total value, right? Yeah, so let us consider, so most of you are confused between A and B, so let us only focus on option A and B. So what is happening here is inner loop I plus 1, that means it will 1 to I, the execution will happen from 1 to I, and here the execution will happen from 1 to I minus 1, right? So let us start from 1. What is happening at 1? I value is 1, right? I value is 1, and j also starting from 1, so j value is also 1. So total is equal to, total value is 0, so total is equal to 0 plus 1, which is 1. Now I is 2. For I is equal to 2, j value is also 2. Yeah, so okay, but here it will stop at I only know I minus 1, so this execution will not happen at all, because the condition here is I minus 1 पे it will stop. Yeah, so if both the values are same, it will stop there only. It will not give us the next number. They will not be able to add the next number. But what happens is here it will help us in adding the next number to the previous number. Yeah, so the correct answer would be option B. So I might not be using the correct words while explaining. So if you have any doubt, if you have not understood, please type in or unmute and ask if you have not understood anything, okay? Because sometimes it is difficult to explain the code, what is happening, which variable is getting changed. So if you are not understanding, please let me know. I will explain it once again. I'll try to use a different example, or I'll try to change my words as well. Yeah, so everyone is clear that how this particular snippet is giving us correct. Why does D not accomplish the same thing? Okay, so a very good question asked. Why option D is not the correct answer? Because it is also doing the same thing. Yeah. So in Python, we don't use the semicolon to mark the end of a particular statement and beginning of next statement. Yeah. So in for loop, what do? We use something called indentation. Yeah, that is leaving the spaces. This is indentation space. So
The indentation ma'am tells that ma'am that code is out of the loop.
Yes, absolutely. So this particular statement, total is equal to total plus j, is not part of this for loop. It is outside the for loop because their return, this indentation is same. So there is indentation error, right? So for loop mein nothing will be executed. Not a single statement is in the for loop, this inner for loop for j. This will be total is equal to total plus j will be part of outer loop, not the inner loop. But we have to add these numbers. This has to be inside the inner loop. जैसे यहाँ पे हो रहा है, here it is part of inner loop, no? So the j value, it will never get any j value. So there will be error. This code will never be executed. Yeah. So thank you everyone for helping Roshan clear his doubt. So you can see your friends have used the chat box to give. Option D will give output as sum of n numbers. No, option D will not give. That's what we were explaining, right? There will be this loop, this statement total is equal to total plus j will be part of outer loop. So यहाँ पे j value, what will be the j value to consider? If it is not getting executed here, what j value it will consider for execution of this statement, right? It will be it will give some error, some indentation error. It might not give proper, logically it is not correct basically. Yeah, so that's why option D is not the correct answer, but logically, syntactically, yes Karthik, you want to ask something? You have been raising hand.
Ma'am, in exam period, what pattern of the exam conducted non-end, ma'am? Or objective questions or programming?
So generally programming based exams, for programming based subjects, the both kind of exams are held. The objective type question, the component will also be there, and the programming component will also be there. So you can expect both.
In last year, I will write a C++ program, ma'am. C++ language, but didn't ask any program, only objective questions. Why, ma'am?
Oh, okay. See, I'm not the regular TA of the course. I am here just to help out with the such doubt solving. So I will probably ask, or we can look at the Swayam platform to clarify this particular doubt. Give me some time. In next week's session, I will come back with this. But as far as I know, for this course, there is a programming this thing also. The programming questions also come, because we have the assignments, the programming assignments have some marks and they're considered in your final evaluations. So
Okay, ma'am.
I mean, do pay attention to the code, because this subject is focusing on helping you learn the Python, helping you to develop the logic for programming. So
Yes.
my sincere advice would be, don't take the, even if they don't ask for the programming questions in the final exam, but don't take this lightly. Do practice, because Python is very widely used language. Because of its beauty, we can accomplish difficult tasks using some functions in Python, some inbuilt functions of Python. There are so many libraries in Python. So this is just introduction to Python. You can do so many things. I mean, the entire machine learning algorithms, the big algorithms, neural networks are also implemented using Python. The data science is entirely Python based. So Python is the language of the era. So doesn't matter if they are asking the questions, programming questions in the final exam or not. But my sincere advice will be, since you have enrolled for the course, do make use of this opportunity to polish your Python, also to understand how Python basically works and how to develop the programming logic. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Great. So we are coming to the last question of the assignment quiz. So the question says, a perfect number is a number which is sum of in which the sum of divisors is equal to that number itself. Yeah. For example, 6 is the perfect number, as a sum of its divisor 1, 2 and 3 is equal to 6. So which of the following functions returns true if the number is perfect number? So that means what the code should be able to do? Code should be able to point out which are the divisors of a particular number, and when added those divisors, when we add or we do summation of those divisors, we have to check if that summation or if that addition is equal to the number itself. Yeah. So there are two tasks, right? First, find out the divisors. Then second, add divisors and check if addition is equal to number, right? So now you can see now you can tell me which of the option is doing this number. So we are defining a function called perfect number, and that function has the argument of number, so that value of value of particular number is coming to the function. So now option A, what is happening in option A is, we are checking if number is divisible by I. Then we are adding. So yes, we are seeing if I is divisor of the number. So if the remainder is 0, then we are adding that particular number to this variable called answer. Now if answer is equal to number, then we are returning true, else we are returning false. Yeah. So so this is happening here. Now what is happening in option B? Option B, we are checking from 1 to number. Then we are checking if the number is divisible. So we are calculating again if I is the divisor of this particular number. Then answer is equal to, so now this operator plus equal to is what it does is, answer is equal to answer plus I, right? Because I is here, so that will be added. Yeah. So even this is correct, and answer is equal to number. Then we are returning false, right? Then now we are returning false. So should this program return false or true here? If the answer is addition of all the divisor, so that should return true and not
Yes.
false, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Aditya, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this will not be the answer, even though this new operator, this is to confuse us, that is functioning same as this line, but still we are returning the wrong value, right? And what is happening here? For range is starting from 3, which is not correct. Yeah. and what is happening in the last part, we are checking if answer is not equal to number, then we are returning true, which is wrong. So the correct answer is option A. Yeah, so everyone agrees option A. So yeah, so Krishna, do you still think the correct answer is option A and C both, or now you want to change your answer to option A or option C only? So I can see, okay, great. And Manoj Verma, you have said option B. So is it clear, or do I need to explain? Because option B is returning this false value instead of true. So that's why option B cannot be the correct answer. Yeah. So now, yes, okay, finally we are to the programming assignment questions. Yeah, so week 4 programming assignment questions are fairly simple. Yeah, so what in question 1, what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to print this particular pattern of right angle, right? So if the input is 5, the printing will start from 1 asterisk, 2 asterisk, and that too indented towards right side. So for this to happen, first we need to print some space followed by asterisk. So there will be 4 spaces followed by asterisk if the input is 5, right? Then 3 spaces followed by 2 asterisks, then 2 spaces, 3 asterisks, 1 space, 4 asterisks, and then finally 5 asterisks. Yeah, so we can get these. So there has to be like 2 loops, one to print the space and one to print the star. Yeah, so the number of spaces is decreasing and the number of asterisks is increasing. You all agree? So one loop will have decreasing value and one loop will have increasing value. So these two things are clear, that we are needed 2 loops, one loop or one thing to take care of the spaces. Okay? We are supposed to print the spaces first, followed by the asterisks. If it would have been a reverse order, like asterisk, 2 asterisks and then 3 asterisks, then 4 asterisks, it would have been easy. But here the pattern is ulta, I mean the space then followed by the asterisks. Huh? So in that way we have to consider 2 loops, one for printing spaces and one for printing asterisks. So now let us go to Colab and have a look at the code which I have already written. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here is the question 1. So what I have done is, I hope the code is visible. I'm sorry, I will not be able to zoom in this code because the Colab is non-zoomable in my system. Yeah. So what I'm asking is, I am asking input from the user, that how many lines should be. Yeah, how many lines of the asterisk we want in our right angle triangle. So I'm converting that input into integer here. Then k is n minus 1, as you would have noticed here. This is 4, number of spaces 4, then number of spaces 3, 2, 1 and 0. Similarly 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 is for asterisks, and spaces is 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So number of spaces are n minus 1. So I have assigned a second, I have created a second variable called k. This will keep note of number of spaces, which is n minus 1. Yeah. So for outer loop we are considering for this can be one line of code also, but for sake of simplicity I have written it step by step. I have not put it in the one entire line. Okay, this could be one line code also. So this is possible only in Python, where we can club entire loop into a single line and add that single one loop to print statement. So everything happen in a single line. So this entire program can be written in a single line. but since we all are beginners, so we'll take the small steps. Every step we'll try to understand what is happening. Yeah. So this outer loop will take care of printing the asterisk, and the inner loop, it will take care of printing the spaces. Yeah. So here you can see for inner loop I have considered range from 0 to k. So this is the spaces, and it is printing space. Now after every k iteration, it is we need to reduce the value of k by 1. So k is equal to k minus 1 should be there, right? Then another for loop. Now here we have to print the values in the increasing order of I, right? Increasing, or the asterisk, number of asterisks to be printed are increasing one by one. So that's why for another loop I have taken range from 0 to I plus 1, where I'm printing asterisk, and end empty commas will keep the cursor in the same line. Yeah. And then print. So this print will print is the part of this outer for loop, not the inner for loop. Yeah. So this print is part of outer for loop, the first for loop, not the two inner for loops. Yeah. So this outer for loop print, what it will do is it will bring the cursor on the next line. Yeah. The simple, just to bring the cursor on the next line, because this is printing the space bar, this is printing the asterisk, and after that one line execution, the cursor should come on to the next line. So now let us try to run this particular code. We'll take the simple this thing as, say for example, 3. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait. So it executed 3, and now what is happening is it printed 2 space 1 asterisk, 1 space 2 asterisk, and 3 asterisks, and it is given us. So now let us try some bigger value, say 5 or 6, for example 6. So it is giving this. So we are getting desired output, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this code is working fine. So our logic is working fine. So we thought in correct direction, that one loop will take care of printing spaces and one loop will take care of printing the asterisks. And this entire thing should have to run n number of times. So on every new line, this entire loop will be executed. Yeah. So moving on to question 2, let's develop the logic first. Yeah. So it is asking that you are given a string S, print the string with every character except vowels should be replaced by hyphen. Yeah. So we have seen how in couple of examples the Ascii letters were using the special string. We used the special string to collect the all the Ascii letters. Yes, it is similar to quiz questions. Yes, Ananya. So we will be using that same logic, and we'll be comparing every character of that string with these Ascii letters, the special string, and if or the vowels, right? So let's jump to the code. Yeah. So instead of the special string, I have made is this list called vowels, where I have written down small and capital vowels, and taking the input from the user, that and storing that in S. Now for every character in S, if the character is not the vowel, then print hyphen, and this end inverted comma will be to retain the cursor in the same line. Okay, the job of this end is equal to empty inverted comma to retain the cursor in the same line. Else you print the character. If it is not the vowel, only then you will replace that with the hyphen. If it is the vowel, then you print the character, right? So now let us run this. enter sorry yaar. Let us say I'm saying joy. Yeah, so it is executing j hyphen o y, or say for example any other word. So I can see Manoj's name there, so let us enter Manoj and see what happens. Hmm? So only A and O, rest are hyphen, so that means the logic is working. Yeah, so so that's the whole logic, Ananya. That's why I like to go through the assignment question first, because many of the new things are exposed in assignment, and we can pick up some logic and some new things and practice that in our actual coding assignments. Yeah, so that's why I go in this language, because this assignment questions, the quiz, it exposes us to so many new things. These possibilities of these things are because there are so many libraries in Python. One cannot be fully aware of how a particular piece of code will be executed. As you only pointed out, certain complex things can be simply put using one single line of code also. Yeah, so that's why I like to go through the assignment quiz first and reuse whatever we can from the assignment questions, learn new things and use that in the programming assignments. Yeah, so coming to the last question. So last question says, if you're given a list L, write a program to print all the numbers in the list which are exactly repeated twice. The order of numbers should be same in the list. Say for example 3 appeared before 2, then 3 should be printed first. So there's no sorting or anything. Yeah, the order of appearance is important. So this statement makes our job easier. That means we just have to deal with the index of a particular number in the list. Yeah, so what I'm doing in first line is I'm just asking input from the users that you enter numbers separated by spaces in the one line. I'm accepting the input, storing it in the list L. Now what I'm doing is I don't need to, so we don't need to, so let us develop the logic first. Yeah, so if this is the input, we have to see if the number is appearing only twice. Yeah, so we will initialize one variable called count to 0. There will be a for loop. For loop for all the length of L, because we don't know how many number user is going to enter. So that's why we will use this length of L statement. Yeah, so but do we need to traverse through all the last element? We can use index and traverse through the second last and see if this number and this number is matching. Yeah, so that's why I'm considering L minus 1. Yeah, so every index, for every index I, will be comparing L of I is equal to L of I plus 1. Yeah, if this number is similar, then count is equal to count plus 1. And finally we will check if count is equal to 2, only then print L of I, otherwise don't do anything. Yeah, so you agree with this logic? Yeah, so now let us check the code if the similar logic is printed. Yeah, so count is 1, not 0. Okay, fine. So let us Manoj is asking ki ek aur baar let us repeat. Okay, so in the variable, sorry, I made one small mistake here. The count should be 1. Yeah, so why count should be 1? Because here we are playing with the index of the element. Yeah, so L of I will give us number at that particular location, and this will start at 0. That means first element. So first element यहाँ पे 2 है. So that means 2 has already appeared once. So that why count value is equal to 1. Now for loop, okay, so so this split will accept multiple inputs in the same line. Yeah, once we'll go to code. So is there any problem with the logic? Everyone understood logic, that how we are seeing if the number is matching. Count function can also be used directly, yes, of course. Count function can also be used. If count of a particular element, if it is 2, then only then you print that number, okay. But then you have to be careful with the order in which the number is getting printed, yeah. So because the count, yeah, I think it will also print in the same order, yeah. So even the count function can be used, yeah. But here we are manually counting how many times a particular number has appeared, yeah. So for every number we are picking up and we are comparing that number with the remaining elements of the list, yeah. So यहाँ पे you will notice it is length -1 because I am going till the second last number, but while comparing it to the next number I am here considering length of L, yeah. So I am saving one run there. So second last element will be that way compared with the last element. So that's why here it goes till L -1, but the inner loop goes till L, yeah. Checking the current number with all the remaining next numbers here, yeah. That's why inner loop range starts from I+1. It starts checking from the next number onwards. So what does it check? It checks if L of I is equal to L of j. So j gives us the index of a number which starts from I+1. That means if we are starting from the first element, we have already L of I is the first element. In the second, this loop for j is equal to loop, this is the inner loop. For inner loop, our first index is I+1. Yeah, that means the first, it will be compared with the immediate next element in the list. If they are same, then we are incrementing the count. So here we have assigned count is equal to 1 because this L of I has already appeared once. So uska count is 1. So now we have to increase that count by 1. It is appeared again. So we are adding 1 to that. So now in the next run what happens? The first element remains the same while it is getting compared with the next element, that is I+2, and this will go on I+2, I+3, this will go on till last element of the list L. And if the count is equal to 2, because we are supposed to see if number has appeared exactly twice, only then you print, yeah. So this particular if statement is part of this outer for loop, yeah. So this if statement will see if the count is 2 and it will print only that particular element from the list, yeah. So now let us run this code and see. So we are entering few numbers separated by space, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 6, 5, 1, yeah. So I am adding deliberately this way because now 1 should come first, then 2 should be there, and then 5 should be there in the output, in that order, yeah. So now let us see 1, 2 and 5, yeah. So is this code clear? Anything anyone did not understand? You can unmute and ask.
Tell about dot split, no?
Yeah, so dot split, what is that? It is a part of input function, you know, just like that end comma it was used to okay, I'm not able to scroll down. Okay, so just like that end was part of output function, this split is part of input function. Yeah, it is a feature of input function in which we can specify special characters like empty spaces or commas or hyphens. Then what input function will do, input function will split whatever we have entered using that special character. So now I have specified nothing. So space bar is this empty space is used to break or the split my input string, because by default Python accepts input string in the form of special characters. So it will now break those characters whenever it encounters the empty space. It will break that set of characters into smaller characters. And this integer which I have written in the beginning, that int bracket I, it will do typecasting of that special characters into integer value, so the numerical values. So by default Python accepts input in set as a set of special characters. So this split will
Okay, ma'am.
break those
Ma'am?
special characters using that thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes.
I understood. Can we use that split in the print last statement? Print li
Print.
L of I.
Uh,
There can I
L of
use?
I. No,
Because
no,
we
no,
are
no,
getting
no.
output in vertical terms.
Vertical. No, there because print is the output function. So output function may we cannot use this. Instead, we can use this function end. So if we add this particular code, no, end is equal to inverted commas, then it will give us output will be in the same line. Yeah. Okay, I'm not able to scroll down. Wait. Okay. Yeah. So for input we use the split. For output we use that end to keep the this thing in the same line. Okay. I am not able to
Okay,
type.
ma'am.
This system has hanged.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let us try. I will try
madam.
once again. Yeah. Yes.
Please explain why you should write length of L minus 1 in the for
Okay.
I loop.
No. Got your doubt. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. End is equal to. Where did equal to go? So yeah, so okay, fine, I will take up your doubt in the form of example. Okay, so let us consider these smaller string like 2 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 as input. So in our case we will ask user to enter this separated by commas, and then our input function will split these numbers and store it as a different numbers in a string called s, say for example. Yeah. So in outer for loop we have to traverse through this entire loop. And inner for loop, what it will do, it should be able to compare the very next number till the end of number. Yeah. So every element it should get picked up, and we should be able to compare it with the remaining elements. So if we are picking first element, then it should get compared with number 2, 3 and 4. Yeah. So when we pick this second 2 in the next iteration of for loop, now I am considering for loop for length of s. What will happen if we consider till length of s? Now in second iteration we are picking up 2. Now 2 should get compared with 3 and 4, because the comparison of this 2 and 2 is already done in the first iteration, right? In third iteration number 3 should get picked up, and it should get compared with number 4 only. Now in the last, when we are considering this as our last iteration, like boundary condition, then number 4 gets picked up, but now number 4 will get compared with what? We don't have any remaining number, na? So we will stop at second last number 3. That's why length of s minus 1 or length of L, in the code I have used L, length of L minus 1, because we are comparing with the next remaining numbers. That's why L minus 1. Is it clear? I don't remember who asked this
Yes,
question,
ma'am.
but your doubt
Yeah,
got
ma'am.
cleared? Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yeah, Karishma, do I still need to explain the entire code once again, or you have understood? If you have specific doubt, you can unmute and ask. I will address that specific doubt, because we are already past 8:30. Karishma Zadav, are you around in the meeting? Okay, those who...
Yes, ma'am. Please explain that once.
Okay. So you know why the outer loop is length of L minus 1, because I just explained that.
Yes, ma'am.
So in the inner loop we are to compare till the last element, so that's, and from the next possible. So currently for this the index is I, so we are starting from I plus 1. So that will give us the next number, the adjacent number. And we are comparing these two numbers. We are comparing L of I with L of j because we need to compare this number 2, like say for example 2, 2, 3 and 4. So this 2 we should compare with 2, 3 and 4, every number, right? So that's why this will be the part of inner for loop, yeah, inner loop, and this get picked up in the outer loop. So similarly, outer loop ka I is equal to 0, this number will get picked up. Outer loop I is equal to 1, this number get picked up. So for 2, the comparison should be done with number 3 and 4 only, right? So our inner for loop should always start with I plus 1, and it should go till the end, that is length of L. And we should be able to compare L of I with L of j. So that is what we are doing here. We are comparing L of I with L of j. So, and when they are same, we are incrementing the count of that particular element. Yeah. So now we need to print that element only when the count is 2. So only when the count is 2. So why this is part of outer element? Because we have to maintain the order in which the number is appearing. In the same order it should be printed. So that's why this print statement is part of the outer element. Whenever we are picking the first element, if that is appeared twice, say for example here 2 has appeared again, so count would get incremented for it. So it should get printed. So that's why the print statement is part of outer for loop. Any specific doubts, Karishma, in this? Now you understood entire code? Okay, great. So we are at the end of the session. I will be uploading a recording. You can access the recording through a YouTube channel, and that link will be shared in the this Swayam portal, where there is at the end you have the problem solving sessions tab. You can click on that and then access the sheet. There I will be updating the link for today's recording sessions. Yeah. Okay, so if there are no more doubts, sorry, what is the output of hello? Bharat ji, I did not get your question. What is the output of I did not get your question. Maybe you can try around Google Colab. So yeah, for output the single inverted comma, double inverted comma, it doesn't matter. So maybe the 3 inverted commas, it will be treated as the first 2 will be treated as opening and closing, and the output will not be there. We need to run and see. Yeah. So Karishma, we did take up this question. There will be MCQs or we have to write the code. So I'm not sure what is the format for this exam, but anyways we need to learn to code, because this subject is focusing on the programming language. No, you're learning a programming language, and Python is used everywhere. So it doesn't matter. No. So it's a myth that Colab is for researchers and Jupyter is for beginners. So no, this is not. So I use Colab because it's so easy to access and device independent. So the tab which you are seeing right now is from my iPad. So I'm able to, because I share screen and do annotations using iPad. So it becomes so easy to run the code and show it to everyone in the screen share, that how the code is getting run. But whereas I type these program through the laptop only, because I can't type on iPad, the touchscreen gives me jitters. So I keep these programs typed beforehand using my laptop, and I use the iPad for screen projections. So it is not like that. I like Colab because the resources are unlimited, which are way better than your laptop, because the RAM and the disk space which is getting assigned for that particular instant of notebook, it is far better than the laptop. So sometimes if your internet connection is good, the Colab is much quicker execution of Python programs. So it's not like that. You can also use Colab to practice the Python from any device. So that's not the case. Yeah, we just need a Google account to have Colab notebook, and it's so easy. I mean, you can just click on the plus code tab and add the code and instantly run that particular code. You don't even need to install the Python packages in your laptop for that. Yeah. Okay, so if there are no more doubts, can we close this session for the day?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You have explained very clearly, ma'am.
Okay,
Thanks a
great.
lot.
My pleasure. That's why these sessions are started, so that all the doubts get addressed and the misconceptions get cleared, and so that's the motive behind these sessions. So we'll be meeting next Tuesday, 7 p.m. to, we say it 8, but we almost every session has gone till 8:30. Today it has gone till 8:40. So doesn't matter, as long as all the doubts are getting cleared, that's fine. So let's meet next week. Thank you all for joining. I'm closing the session. Yeah, good night.
Thank you all.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye. Closing the session.